Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Friends, welcome to the Encounter program sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland. I'm the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. Over the many years of the Encounter program, we've discussed the issue of hunger, both locally in our community and also globally. Today, I'm excited because we're going to approach this topic of hunger on both of those levels at the same time, both within our community and around the world. Today, I am blessed and thankful that we have with us today John and Nikki Hrustich, who are members, faithful members of the Whittemore Hill United Methodist Church and are here on behalf of the Southern Tier Mobile PAC. And I want to thank you for taking this opportunity to promote what you're about to do in the next month. And so welcome to the Encounter program.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
This is exciting. So let's dive right into it. But first, could you just share with our listeners and our viewers a little bit about you? I think that's important so they can kind of get to know a little bit about your background, maybe your family, or anything that you would like to share before we dive into this important ministry.
Sure. We've been married for 13 years.
Congrats. And
we live in Owego. Mm-hmm. We have two sons, Jack and Noah. They're 10 and 12. And we started attending Whittemore Hill United Methodist Church just after we were married. Mm-hmm. And it was a very welcoming family. So we found it a very comfortable place for us to go to.
We homeschool our two boys.
Okay.
John works at Lockheed Martin part-time, and he also homeschools our older son, and I homeschool our younger son.
Awesome. Great. Now, did you both have United Methodist backgrounds prior to your marriage?
I did. I grew up in Candor.
Okay.
And so I went to McHenry United Methodist Church my
Mm-hmm.
entire childhood. But John did not.
Right. I grew up in Endicott, and my family was Catholic. Mm-hmm. And after I came back from college, I was a member of a Lutheran church for a while.
Okay.
And then when we got married, just down the road from us was this little white church, and we said, I think that's where we should be going.
This is home.
Yep,
Awesome.
This is home.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I thank you for sharing a little bit about that. So let's get right into what's going to be happening on November 3rd and 4th. And I know that you have been at this for a while. In talking to you prior to taping, that you have been working on this project since the beginning of the year. But can you tell our viewers and listeners, what is the Southern Tier Mobile PAC? What is that?
Okay, so Southern Tier Mobile PAC is a Feed My Starving Children mobile PAC event. And what we're going to do there is pack 100,000 meals for chronically malnourished children around the world. So Feed My Starving Children, or FMSC, is a Christian nonprofit organization. And their goal is to feed all of God's hungry children, hungry in both physically and spiritually. Mm-hmm. And so their approach is quite simple. Adults and children hand pack these meals, and then they provide them to other organizations throughout the world where there's a real need for this food. So while FMSC is a Christian organization, they welcome any and all, so that any and all can be fed. And I think that's an important point. This food goes to people anywhere in the world, no matter what their background is, where there's a real need for it.
So then would you say that Feed My Starving Children then is kind of a warehouse and then a distribution center to all of these meals that get packed?
Yes, you could kind of think about it that way. So they actually have 3 fixed sites throughout the U.S. where they regularly pack these meals, and from there they distribute them out. And so to further their reach out, they have the mobile pack, where they actually take what they do at the fixed sites and move it out to many different locations around the country.
Okay.
And then from there, that's where they arrange shipment to provide the food to humanitarian organizations and missionaries around the world.
Interesting. Now, how did both of you get connected with this? What is that story? How does that story come to light?
So our first exposure to FMSC was when my nephew was a student out at St. Bonaventure University. They have a really wonderful organization out there called Bona Responds. And Bona Responds works locally in the Olean area. So they do a lot for the people nearby, building wheelchair ramps, for example. Okay. My sister and my nephew just went back out to St. Bonaventure last week to do that again. But they also respond to disasters around the country, and a little bit further into Haiti they've been several times, especially after the earthquake that was there a while ago. And it was through visiting Haiti that they saw a real need for providing food to these children that were chronically malnourished. Yes. So they decided they were going to have an FMSC mobile pack. And he told us about it, and we said, well, let's go out and volunteer.
See what this is all about.
See what it's all about.
Yes.
And it was, it was really an impactful experience that we had. We came away and we said, this is something that we really want to do more of. Yeah. So we came home and we looked around and said, are there other mobile packs that we can become involved in? And there were mobile packs in Syracuse and in Ithaca. And I think it was the mobile pack in Ithaca Mobile Pack, that really inspired us. They have all kinds of organizations coming together: churches, synagogues, mosques, businesses, students, Boy Scout groups, families, all coming together once a year so that they can pack this food. And we came away from there every year and we said, how can we make this happen in Binghamton?
Yeah.
How can we do that?
Yes. Yeah.
And it seemed very overwhelming, because it's like, how are we going to raise all the money to be able to do this? How are we going to get all these volunteers?
Yes.
But we felt called to do it. For a long time, God was calling us, and we were pretending not to listen.
I'm busy packing.
And finally we said, okay, we really need to step up and make this happen.
Let me ask this. Going back to that very first event, I just want to go back a little bit. What was it that inspired you? What was it that lit that light and that passion? If you go back to that very first time, you're wherever you are and you're packing, what was it that was the inspiration to all of that?
Well, I think it started with the training they gave us, right? So they kind of got us together and said, this is what you're going to do. But during that time, they showed us a couple short videos of the need for this food and the impact on the children once they got it.
And they showed pictures of before and after pictures of the children after they received the food.
Yes.
And it was quite amazing to see how this food can literally change their life, save their life.
So it was really a mission with handles then. I mean, you're doing something, but you could get your head and heart and spirit around it and say,
yeah,
making a difference.
And so you're working there in that couple-hour shift. You're putting those ingredients in. You're packing up this food.
Yes.
And then afterwards, you get to see the total. This shift, we packed 12,000 meals, and they gather everybody around that food, and we all pray over it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get toward the event then. As to As I understand, it's been since the first of the year, God put this on your heart to do something with this. It was presented to you. You've lived through a few of those.
Yes.
And then you kind of struck out. How has that process been? Can you tell me a little bit about that process?
Well, the process has been a little bit difficult. We've had some challenges. The fundraising has definitely been the hardest part.
Okay.
We've written 100 letters and made many phone calls to local churches and businesses. And many times we didn't hear anything back at all, unfortunately. And if we did, it was a no.
Oh, okay.
So we were
Okay.
struggling a little bit. We were losing our faith.
Discouraged, definitely.
Definitely discouraged. But it was that discouragement that kind of pushed us forward.
Yeah.
And with when we were thinking about Philippians 4:13, I can do anything through God who strengthens me. That's what pushed us forward. And He helped us, and we decided to continue on, and we were able to make our first 2 payments that we had due. A little story. So the payments that we had due, we had a third due quite early in the process, and a second third due, and we were short about $2,400. And we were talking, we're like, how are we gonna come up with this $2,400? It was due in like 5 days.
Yes.
And we had gone back and forth, where are we gonna come up with this money? And one of the boys had gone down to the mailbox and came back, and there was a check in the mail, an anonymous check, and it was for $2,400. So we really feel like God's working and watching over us and helping us with this project.
Yes. Now the total cost, just for our viewers and listeners, would be what, for $100,000? So you're sitting there in the first of the year, and you want to do $100,000, and the total cost is
$22,000.
$22,000.
Each meal costs 22 cents, but when you multiply that by 100,000 meals, it's $22,000 that we have to fundraise.
That's incredible. We're joined today, and I'm so thankful that we're joined today by John and Nikki Hrustich, who are a part of the Southern Tier Mobile Pack and Feed My Starving Children, who are going to be hosting an event, and we'll be talking about that as we move through this time together. So 100,000 meals, $22,000 as you start this venture and such things. How did you raise the money? What were some of the things, the tangible ways? You wrote 100 letters, not much response from all of that. How did most of the fundraising take place?
Well, we went to different churches and made presentations. We've collected lots of cans and bottles. What else have we done?
There's a couple significant fundraisers that our church has done.
Okay.
One of those was Binghamton Rumble Ponies baseball game.
Yes.
So we had 100 tickets, and we sold those 100 tickets, and I think that raised just about $1,000 for us. So that was a big piece. And every summer, our church has 3 ice cream socials. The United Methodist Men put on these ice cream socials to help fund their mission work. And they decided that we should do one additional one of these. So in September, very beginning of September, we had another ice cream social, and it was very successful. I think over $400 we raised in a single ice cream social in one night.
Yeah.
We also had a booth at your National Night Out in Endwell, and that was helpful.
Good.
And a lot of it has just been asking people for a donation to feed some hungry children.
Yes.
A $20 donation will buy about 90 meals.
Incredible.
And so if you think about that, that's $80 will give a child a meal every day for a year.
Yes.
That's really an incredible bargain.
Yeah. So at your church, I'm trying to visualize this. You're inspired by God to do 100,000 meals, $22,000, and you go to your church and say, hey, do I have an idea for you? Is this something they've done before? Is it something new? Have they done anything similar to this? Take me to back to that meeting.
Oh yeah, that was a really good time, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, our church has never done anything this